All right, I wanted to take a minute to kind of go through something that is one of the things that's getting us all in trouble with respect to income taxes. And this is 26 USC Code 6013. And it is filing joint tax returns. It's something that all of us do if we're married, and we've never really, we've always been told that it was more beneficial to file jointly than it was individually. And so we all end up getting married and doing that. So this is 26 USC Code 6013, joint returns of income tax by husband and wife. So the first thing I want to point out here is this joint returns. If you notice right here, A1, it says no joint return shall be made if either the husband or wife at any time during the taxable year is a non-resident alien. So that's something that is interesting. Again, if we're not non-resident aliens, I would like to know who is. But we'll just, we'll go with that. So the first thing it tells you is you cannot file a joint return if you are a non-resident alien. All right. So let's go down here to section G and see what it says. And again, this is all related to filing jointly. And so section G says election to treat non-resident alien individual as a resident of the United States. So again, they are not saying that you're a United States citizen. They're saying you're a resident of the United States, because remember, if you reside in the United States in the District of Columbia, or if you're a citizen of the United States, the District of Columbia, then you have to pay income tax no matter where you live if you're a citizen. Otherwise, they're going to treat you as a resident. And there's other tax code that we've gone through that says that, even though you might live outside, they're going to treat you as if you live inside. So, but it says a non-resident alien individual with respect to whom this subsection is in effect for the taxable year shall be treated as a resident of the United States for the purposes of Chapter 1, because remember, Chapter 1 is where we were a minute ago, for all such taxable year. For purposes of Chapter 24 related to wage withholding for payments of wages made during the taxable year. So in other words, you're electing to be treated as a resident, and therefore you're also liable to have your employer take out taxes off your paycheck, and you're filing as a resident alien or someone that is not a non-resident alien. And so this subsection shall be in effect with respect to individuals who, at the close of the taxable year for which an election under this subsection was made, was a non-resident alien individual. So it says you were a non-resident alien individual married to a citizen or resident of the United States, if both of them made such election to have the benefits of the subsection apply to them. And it's interesting that they say benefits. I'd love to know what the benefits of having them steal money out of your paycheck is, but that's what it says. So duration of election, an election under the subsection shall apply to the taxable year for which made and to all subsequent tax years until terminated under paragraph 4 or 5, except that any such election shall not apply for any taxable year if neither spouse is a citizen or resident of the United States at any time during such year. Okay, so again, this is forever. So once you make this election, it's forever. However, it says paragraph 4 or 5. So paragraph 4 says termination of election. An election under this subsection shall terminate at the earliest of the following times. Revocation by taxpayers. If either taxpayer revokes the election as of the first taxable year for which the last prescribed by law for filing the return of tax under has not occurred. This is extremely confusing what it's actually saying here. So if either of the taxpayers revoke as of the first taxable year for which the last prescribed by law for filing the return of tax under subsection 1 has not yet occurred. I don't even know what that means. I don't think I can decipher this sentence. The thing is, though, if you remember in paragraph 1 up in A1, it said that if you're a non-resident alien for any time during the year, then you're not liable to pay taxes. This basically says that if you revoke that election, the election that you made in paragraph B or in the section G, then you're no longer a resident of the United States, and therefore you're not subject to the tax any longer. Now, another way you can do this is by dying, or you can have a legal separation where you're no longer filing jointly. And then D, you'll notice here it says that at the time provided in paragraph 5. Well, 5 is termination by the secretary, which I would think would probably never happen, but that would be where the secretary is actually removing you from the process on his own. I don't know by what means or by what reasoning that would ever happen, but it is in here. So the real point here is that this section is on joint tax returns. It clearly says that if you're a non-resident alien, you cannot file a joint tax return. And then it further says that if you elect to be treated as a resident alien, then you can file jointly. And then to get out of it, you can do a rejection. You can terminate it by making what they call a revocation of election. Now, this is the interesting part. And there are, there's people that have videos on how to do this revocation of election that never actually tell you how to do it. The problem is there is no official, at least I've not been able to find any official document or form that says revocation of election. And so the only thing that I've done personally, and that I've seen other people do, is to just file an affidavit with the secretary notifying him that you're revoking the election, and then stop filing your taxes as joint. In fact, stop filing them at all, because you're a non-resident alien if you've been born in the United States. And you got to remember, I'm not saying every single person that lives here doesn't have to pay income tax. If you are a United States citizen, you naturalized into this country, right now you are a United States citizen and you have to pay taxes. If you receive money from the federal government, then you have to pay taxes on that money, not on all your money, but on that money. So there are situations where you do legitimately have to pay this income tax, but it's contingent on where the money came from and what your status is, as a citizen. So the people that are claiming that, hey, here's what you do, I don't know of any absolute thing that you're supposed to do, but I would file an affidavit, a notarized affidavit with the secretary, notifying him that you're revoking the election of this particular code section, paragraph G, and you're using paragraph, let's see, what is it is G, so it is G4 that you're actually terminating the election for. So that's the only thing that I've been able to find that would suffice it doing this, because they don't give you an actual process to do this. And you have to remember too, they don't even tell you who is a non-resident alien. They tell you what a non-resident alien is not, but they don't actually tell you what a non-resident alien is. And I don't know, let me see if I can find, I'll bring this thing over here, see if we can find real quick what the code section is for non-resident alien. I think I may have it. See if we can find this real quick. There's so many twisted ass code sections in here that it gets really difficult keeping all this stuff organized. Non-resident alien. So this is 26 CFR 1.871-2. And keep in mind too, the CFR is like a instruction manual. It gets into more detail as to what a code section actually is saying. It could even have some paragraphs in it that lay out what the thing is actually trying to portray. The USC is actually the same code, but they got different numbers. But there will be a USC, is probably an 1871 section that also has non-resident alien in it. But this is a CFR, and it says the term non-resident alien individual means an individual whose residence, I don't reside in, is not within the United States, and who is not a citizen of the United States. So that's, they tell you what it is not, but they don't actually give you an example of who is a non-resident alien, which would be all state citizens that don't reside in the District of Columbia and were not born in the District of Columbia. So it seems pretty obvious, but that's what it says. So don't believe what you're told. Make these people give you the law, the code sections to go look at, and then go look at them. And I guess I'll do one more thing just to drive this point home. If we come down here and look at United States defined, the term United States, when used in geographical sense, includes only the states and the District of Columbia. And if you pretend that states is going to be the several states, well, right under it, look at this, it's 77A9 is the United States, 7701A10 is the definition of state. And state, the term state shall be construed to include the District of Columbia, where such construction is necessary to carry out the provisions of this title. Now, you could pretend that by them using the word include, that it is including other things. And I think I may have a harder time finding this, but they actually have a code section that has, it says what they want the word include to mean. But if you read it, and I may have to get into that in another video because I don't remember where I put it. But if you read it, it says that it includes other items within the group that it lists. Well, it's only listing the District of Columbia. So it doesn't list the several states, so therefore you can't actually go and look at that. So that's all we wanted to cover today, was joint tax returns and the fact that you are a non-resident alien, and that you, by filing a joint tax return, are agreeing to something that just ain't true.